Welcome class to our lesson today. We shall look at journals, or what we call the day books. Or in other books, you shall find them referred to as the books of Prime and Cleese. So a journal is a record that is usually maintained on a chronological way on a day-to-day basis. At your level, we shall look at 4 specific journals, and those journals are we shall have the sales journal, we shall have the purchases journal, and we shall have the returns inwards journal, and we shall have the returns outwards journal. Yeah, journal, like I had said previously, the journals are usually get information from the source document. Like for example, when you talk of a sales journal will get information from a sales invoice. A purchases journal will get information from a purchases invoice. Return inwards and returns outwards journal, they'll get the information from the debit and the credit notes. Yes, so let's have an example of how a journal looks like, regardless of whether a journal is a sales journal or a purchases or rather returns outward journal. A journal usually has the following format. So let's look at the format of a journal. A journal, it's of this format. We usually start with the date. Then we have the details. Then we have the folio. And then we have the amount. Because we say that these journals are recorded on a daily basis. Under the date column, we usually record the date of the transaction. Under the details column, we record the details or the particulars of the transaction, or where the transaction can be found. Then the folio, we usually record the page number or the invoice number for the sales and purchases journal. And for the returns inwards, we usually record the debit note number or the credit note number. Then the amount column, we usually record the amount of the transaction. How much was the transaction worth? That's when we talk of. Remember, in this case, the format is the same for all the 4 journals. Only that when it comes to returns to returns inwards and outwards, this column will be folio. For sales journal and purchases journal, this one will change, and we shall have here as a invoice number. The invoice number. So that is it. Let's now have an example. I shall give you an illustration that will cover all the 4 journals that we have. Yes. From the notes that I've sent to you, I've sent to you via the portal, we have this illustration, the illustration number 1, and it says, because you have it, the illustration goes as follows. You are to enter the following items in the day books. You've been given the year, that is 2000, June 2000. The 1st of June, there was credit purchases from Kamau and Mkanyotu and Peter and the amounts have been given. So when you have credit purchases, that one will affect the purchases journal. So I shall open all the 4 journals so that we record them one by one. So for that transaction, I will open a purchases journal. Purchases journal. We shall have the date, the details, the invoice and amount. So here we shall have the date, we shall have the details, then we shall have the invoice number, because this is a purchases journal. We say that for purchases and sales journal we have the invoice, and here we shall have the amount. Yes. So that is how that's how our purchases journal will look like. So for the first transaction, that is, we have here, we can write this is June 2000, and then the first transaction took place on 1st June, and we've been told that there was some credit purchases from Kimani. So under the details I shall have Kimani here. The invoice number we had not been given, so it shall have just a dash. Amount of the transaction was 380 shillings. All the transaction will be in shillings, so here I shall have 380 shillings. Then from there we have M Kanyotu. So still on the same date we have M Kanyotu. Still in the same case, we have not been given the invoice number. The amount is 500 shillings. The other one is N Peter. N Peter, the same date. N Peter, no invoice number still, and the amount is 106. That is the first transaction for that particular question. Then we go on that June. Credit sales to E. Robert, shillings 510, E. Phillips, shillings 246, and F. Trafena, shillings 356. That one because it's credit and note. For these purchases journal, we record credit purchases only. Note that we don't record cash purchases. So for cash purchases, we shall record them in a cash book. Yes. So for these ones, I shall open another journal here. That is for the sales journal. So I shall have it as sales journal. I shall have the date, details. I shall have invoice number, and then I shall have the amount. I shall have the amount like that. So that is it. So we've been told that on that, so our date here, this is June 2000. On that, what happened? Made some credit sales to E. Robert. So under details, I shall have E. Robert. How much? We've not been given the invoice, so the invoice will be just a dash. And then E. Robert was 510. That's the value of the transaction. Then the other one is E. Phillips. On the same date, E. Phillips. We've not been given the invoice number, so E. Phillips is 246. On the same that he made a sales to F. Trufena. F. Trufena. For Trufena, he bought the items worth shillings 22. Then on the other transaction is on Faith made some credit purchases from Al Martin. So that one we go back to the purchases journal. So this one was on 1st. On 5th of June, made some credit purchases from R. Martin. Other details I shall have R. Martin. So we have not been given the invoice number still. In this case, R. Martin is 200 shillings. We have J. Kim 180. 180. Then we have E. Edwards. E. Edwards. For E. Edwards, he bought things worth 410 shillings. And then there was C. Davis. C. Davis. Still, we didn't have an invoice number there. So, and it is for C. Davis, it is 66 shillings. All this relates to 5th of June. Yes. And then on 8th, made some credit sales to A. Greek. So this one is on 8th of, see that one will affect the sales journal. 8th, so A. Greek shillings. So here I'll have A. Greek. How much is it? 307. No invoice number. The other one is H. George 250. 250 shillings. The other one is J. Ferguson 185. J. Ferguson 185. 185 shillings. So that is still on 8th. That is it. The other transaction relates on 12th June. On 12th June, what happened is returns outwards to M. Kinoti and N. Peter shillings 30 and 16 respectively. Now that one takes us to another journal. Our journal will be now returns, and that one was returns outwards. So we shall have returns outwards journal. The same, it shall be the same. We shall have the date here. Let me separate my work so that you may not be confused. Just like that. We shall have the date, details, and because this is returns outward journal, I shall not have invoice number like in the purchases and sales journal. I shall have folio number, and we shall have the amount, though it serves the same purpose with the invoice number, only that in this case we are not dealing with invoices, we are dealing with debit notes and the credit note. So then it was on June 12th. Under the details we shall have M. Kinoti. M. Kinoti. We don't have the folio number. So for M. Kinoti was 30 shillings. The other one was for N. Peter 16 shillings. The same on 12. N. Peter, is it 12 or 16? Let me confirm. 16 shillings. Yes, 16 shillings. The other one is returns inwards. Now that takes us now to another journal. That is returns inwards journal. We shall prepare a returns inwards journal. We shall have the date, details, folio number, and then we shall have the amount. Just like that. So that one was on 14th. So June 14th. He returns some goods, returns some goods. The foreign people return goods to the business, because returns inwards is returns on the items we had already sold. So they are returning into the business. So returns inwards were from E. Philip, shillings 18. So we shall have E. Phillips, shillings 18. Still here, we didn't have the for your number. The other one is F. Tlufena. So we have F. Tlufena, shillings. How much is the returns to Tlufena? Shillings 22. So amount, we shall have 22. Then that is it. On 20th, made some credit sales to E. Phillips. So credit sales will come here. That is on 20th. We shall have E. Phillips. Again, he sold some goods worth how much? 188. 188 to E. Phillips. And F. Powell, 320. F. Powell, 380. 310, not 380, 310. Then there was also E. Lee for 20. E. Lee, shillings 420. Then on the 24th, made some credit purchases. Purchases from F. Ferguson. So we shall come here. So on 24th, we shall have F. Ferguson. How much did we buy from Ferguson? They were worth 550. The same date, bought on credit from E. Niva. K.E. Niva. E. Niva. And the goods bought from E. Niva were shillings, were worth 900 shillings. Then on 31st, returns inwards from E. Phillips and Robert were 27 and 30 shillings. We come to here. So on 31st, there was two people who returned goods inwards, and that is E. Phillips. E. Phillips returns goods worth how much? 27 shillings. 27 shillings. And we had also E. Lobert. E. Lobert returned. E. Lobert returned goods worth 30 shillings. So we record it there. Then the last one is returns outwards to J. Cook was 13 and C. Davids 11. So we shall have 31st here. J. Cook was how much? 13 and 13 shillings. And also on the same date, we had C. Davis goods worth 11,000. Yes, class, once you have now recorded your transactions in your journals like we have done, we usually now sum up the amount so that we can be able to get like for purchases journal, we'll get all the credit purchases. Yes, from the sales journal we shall get all the credit sales. So adding this, let's add them together. Yes, take your calculator and add that one. From my calculator, I'm getting my total purchases journal as that 3,292. Yes, so this is my total credit purchases. My total credit purchases is 3,292. Then we take our calculator and we add this, the amount on the sales journal, and from the sales journal I am getting 2,772. 772. So my total credit sales are worth 2,772. That is it. We do the same for the returns outward journal. For the returns outward journal, using my calculator, I'm getting 70. So all the returns that we had done outside, returns on purchases, were worth 70 shillings. For returns inwards, after adding everything, I'm getting 97 shillings. So all the goods that were returned into the business were worth 97 shillings. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I've given from the notes I've given, I've given several illustrations and several examples at the activity level and within the notes. So go through the notes and do the other examples. Thank you and enjoy your sessions.